episode on this channel, I'm always the one explaining things. Today, we're flipping that. We'll be sitting with someone who makes use of this tool every day, and the conversation is not going to be about which AI model is good or bad, or what can you build with a particular AI model. The conversation is all about the fundamentals of AI model, some questions some of us are also probably curious about, so we're going back to the beginning. I'm here with Omiebi Bakshaw, a software engineer. Thank you so much for doing this, Bakshaw.
I'm happy to be here, but just a warning, it may
Okay.
get a little bit technical, but I'll try my best to simplify every concept so that everyone can be taken over.
I will really be counting on you simplifying things. Okay, so this is going to be the format. I want this to feel like an anatomy class. Not because AI model is living, right? Yeah, but because I do believe it has various parts. So it's more like starting from the head to the, is it toe now? Yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing today. So let's start as basic as possible.
Sure.
From the very first part of what is an AI model. When people say AI model, what does it actually mean? Is there like a living being, that is living and breathing somewhere? Yeah.
In general, when people say AI models, they're referring to large language models.
Okay.
Now, these are models trained on large data sets that allows them to provide the most accurate answers to questions we have. Think of your typical ChatGPT, but under these models, there's a whole lot of advanced mathematics that we won't be going into today.
Okay, please, no mathematics today. Thank you.
Yeah.
But you did mention large language model. What is large language model? What does it mean?
So, large language models, from its name, it's a model that understands the way we speak through some underlying process in the background, right?
Okay.
And the large comes from it being trained on large amount of data and it's being trained with large amount of parameters. So you hear the fancy more like 7 billion parameter model, 70 billion, 300 billion. So that is why we call it large language models. But in the base format, they're all language models.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. So when I type on ChatGPT that it suggests a fancy summer vacation for me, and then I see it thinking.
Yep.
Especially on Claude, and you just see some sort of verb or whatever, I just put thinking, doing this. What's actually happening in the background?
So, ideally, since we don't have previous information on how these models are built, since they're intellectual property, we assume those are processes the model goes through to ensure the response is coherent to the question, so that it understands the context and you're asking for A and it is not giving you B.
Yeah. That makes sense. So considering the various parts involved in AI model, I think it does make sense to say anatomy.
Yeah, fair enough. That's a fair way to put it. AI generally mimics the way the brain works.
Okay.
So anatomy is a very great way to explain it.
Thank you. Good suggestion on my part.
Very.
So speaking about this large language model, where does it actually get its knowledge from? Is there like a AI school it went to?
Not an AI school per se, but these large language models predominantly get their information from the public repository available to us as individuals. So anything on the internet can be part of the data used to train this model. So part of its knowledge base.
That's tricky because we have a lot of things on the internet.
Very true.
Good and bad.
Very true, yeah.
So what is like the classification or stuff like that happens there to ensure we only get the good data? So
now this raises a lot of emphasis on the data gathering phase. So in any machine learning algorithm use, we have a data processing phase, whereby we clean the data, we ensure the data we have is relevant to what we want to do. Okay. So in the different AI research hubs, emphasis is laid on the data gathering phase so that they ensure the data the AI used to learn patterns are clean, relevant, and safe for consumption. That makes sense. So I think they call it data. There's a term for it, right? Yeah. You could call it a couple of things. We have data engineering. Yeah. I think that's the one. Yeah. Okay, since my first computer science class, I've been taught that computers only understand the machine language. Yeah, ones and zeros.
Okay, ones and zeros. So how is the AI models, how are they able to convert my prompt to what makes sense to them?
So in the background, two major processes handle this situation you've described.
Okay.
The first is tokenization. Basically, what tokenization does is the large sentences, the large prompts you give to AI, AI may not have the capacity to understand everything in that massive format.
Okay.
So, in order to ensure more accuracy in the outputs being given to you, those large prompts are broken into small bite-sized chunks.
Okay.
Now, those chunks can be single words, can be parts of words. Now, this allows the whatever mathematical model the model uses to convert text to numbers, to convert those bite-sized chunks into ones and zeros. Now, these ones and zeros have a sequence. If you remove one sequence and put another way, it means a total different pattern, right? So now, this sequence is what we call embedding. Embedding is just a sequence of which the ones and zeros occur, so that it can give you a coherent response.
Yeah, it almost feels like we're back to a geography class.
Definitely.
When you talk about sequence and the location, so that's more like a map.
Exactly. So the background of how these AI models work, they all use neural network. So, and if you know your biology, you know neurons send information to neurons in a kind of unordered manner.
Okay.
So yeah, you can comment the map as a very good description for it.
Yeah. I don't know my biology, so I won't go deep into that. But I really want to take you back quickly to the models breaking down text into chunks, you said? Yeah. So is that the reason why you're charged per tokens?
Exactly. Because the process of breaking down text into chunks and breaking those chunks, converting those chunks into numbers has a lot of compute involved.
Okay.
So for every compute is what we could assume as a token.
Okay.
And if you go through any model documentation, you see they have input token and output token. All they're saying is that the process of converting text into one zeros for the machine to understand is your input token.
Okay.
Now the process of converting the ones and zeros the machines has generated as a response for you back to text, those are your output tokens. Okay,
just to bring this back all together more. Input token is my prompt.
Yep.
And then whatever I get back from the model is the output token.
Exactly.
Okay. That makes sense now. I think that explains the various pricing models we see.
Exactly.
The way they the various tiers, the way they put the price in. You said this was 1 million tokens, input token. I wonder what is that? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So what's the actual breakthrough that made modern AI possible? I keep hearing the word transformer. What does that mean?
Yes, transformer is the underlying technology all current frontier models are built on.
Okay.
So just a brief history of how we got to transformers. Before we had natural language processing tools. Now this allows any machine learning model or any system to read sentences word by word without extracting meaning. So once it goes to the next one, it forgets the last word that was read. But what transformer does is it allows models or any system read sentences word by word and extract the meaning from the beginning to the end. So from the last sentence, from the last word, it can refer back to the beginning to give you context. So that's the breakthrough for the current frontier models.
Can you give me an example of the odd failing of the previous model?
Yeah, so previously we had something we call sentiment analysis.
Okay.
Whereby we read a chunk of a sentence and see whether it's a negative or positive. How that was worked was they had a library of positive words and a library of negative words. So once it reads the sentence, it does the average of the amount of positive words, the amount of negative words, and gives you a sentiment analysis. But that doesn't say whether is this sentence, in what context was it written? Is it actually bad? Or was it just a mixture of a couple of words that had more negative than positive? Now this is what Transformer saw. Transformer came and said, now we have read these words, what is the context behind it? From the last word we've read and the first word we have and the sentence we have all together, what does it mean?
So more like a model that pays attention.
Yeah, it pays attention to the details of the sentence.
Yeah. Thank you. So going back to the beginning of where the large language models, where they got their knowledge from. So I want to understand something. Is it that after they've been trained on a particular data, is the training done? Do they just graduate and go into the world and flourish?
Not necessarily graduate. So there are two core phases we will discuss in this aspect. What we call pre-trained and what we call fine-tuning. So pre-training is we have a base model, we have a data set. Now this data set has a variety of information in there. So we can train the base model on this data set before we release it to the public. Now, once we train the model on these data sets, we also have a separate data set that the model has itself. And we validate the accuracy of the model based on the data set the model has itself. So we give it the data, we expect the response, and we see how accurate the results we have and the result the AI gives us before we put into the public. Now, going to fine-tuning. Fine-tuning is all about the base models we have. They have numerous functionalities that could be harnessed, that can be used. Fine-tuning says we take the base model and we teach it on a particular aspect or a particular type of data so it becomes an expert in that field. So like a simple example, passing your company's record into AI and say, become my personal assistant. AI learns your company's history, finances, company's best practices, and AI can give you a curated response for your company. So now that's the fine-tuning process in the less complicated manner.
That's interesting. And reinforcement. What is reinforcement?
Reinforcement has been a staple in advanced machine learning, whereby the theory of reinforcement says the model learns in every step.
That kind of like just took me back to my physics class. Newton's law state. States deploy again.
So like reinforcement just states in simple terms, the model learns at every step. So every input given to the model and the model generates an output. That output is used as an input for the next phase of tasks the model is going to handle.
Yeah. So when I ask any AI model questions, sometimes the responses come in twos.
Yeah.
And then I have like an option to give it feedback.
Yeah.
Which response do you prefer? What do they use with that particular? What do they do with that particular information? What's happening there?
So this factors into the individual differences we have as humans. For those, the AI is trying to gauge how do you like your answers to be curated? Do you have a particular format in mind so that for future occurrences or future usage, it doesn't need to guess the best way you want your data to be presented to you. So that is what that process is doing.
So it's learning it.
So it's learning your patterns, it's learning your characteristics.
I should start confusing it.
You can try. You can try.
So when I'm having an entirely new conversation with any of these models, and they remember something we've discussed in previous conversation, like 5 or 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Like, let me give you an example. ChatGPT, nobody should have access to it, to my conversation, because I feel like it knows me so much. So I could just say, hey, should I take the supplement? And then it goes, since you like Ronnie, because I've discussed maybe Ronnie in previous conversation. How is that even possible?
So these models have what we call context and context window.
Okay.
So
are they
They're two different things, but they work hand in hand. So context is the information the models can extract from the conversations you have. But these models don't have unlimited memory. So that's a drawback. So it has to be able to store information that it needs within a timeline to refer back to. That's what we call context window.
Okay.
Context window is just the time period the models can store information about you, right? If you notice from your conversation with ChatGPT, it remembered you like running. Give it a long time, talk about different other topics, then see if it has that same fast-paced memory to refer you back to running.
That's true. Sometimes they usually lose memory.
Exactly.
I've experienced it more with Claude though. I always have to remind Claude, or sometimes I have to nudge it and say, remember we've discussed this in the past. So how come one model has probably, should I say, more context than the other does not have? How does that work?
So the different AI research houses implement context and context window differently. So we can't say one has better context. We could say one has better context in conversation kind of interaction, but others have better context in when it comes to more technical nitty-gritty things like development, where code excels at. Right? So we cannot say one has more memory. They all implement context and context window differently.
Okay, so just to be able to distinguish between context and context window, will I be correct if I say context is within that conversation window, just a single conversation window?
Yeah.
And then context window is some conversation, like more conversation windows
so
now, right?
Context, perfectly put.
Mhm.
Context is a single conversation. The meaning it derives from that conversation.
Okay.
Context window, it's a batch of conversations within a time period
Yeah.
that it could refer to understand what the current prompt you're giving it means.
Okay. And context and prompts, they're sounding the same to me. Are they the same?
Yes, they are different. They are not the same.
What's the difference between, because we only within a conversation window we only talk about prompts.
Yeah.
And then maybe going back to editing our prompts. Yeah. So what's the difference between context and prompts?
So prompt is just the description you give to the models in plain English.
Instruction.
Yeah, the instructions.
Okay.
But these models do not understand plain English as we speak it.
Okay.
Context is after the prompts have gone through tokenization, gone through different embedding process, the meaning from the sequence of tokens generated, that is the context for you. So that is what is being stored in those windows, so that whenever you give it a new prompt, it goes to see, okay, this is a sequence that probably I've seen in previous conversations. Let me tailor my answer. You leverage in this sequence.
I think I'm getting this probably more plainly than you are explaining. I'm a good student.
Sorry.
I'm a good student. Okay, so if I hear it correctly now, if I go, hey Claude, give me a good summer vacation. I keep saying summer vacation.
Since
oh my
God. Go on one.
I really want to go on one, man. Yeah, so if I say suggest a good summer vacation for me, and then it says, it depends on your budget. You can go to Australia, you can go to South Island, blah 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 blah. And then my next conversation is compare a trip to Australia and a trip to South Island. You see that I've passed in 2 prompts.
Yep.
But the context of that conversation is about travels, about vacation. Am I using the term correctly now? Context and prompts.
Definitely, yeah, definitely. So you passed in 2 prompts, which were about travels. When the AI model is responding, let's say, to the second prompt, it's going to say, oh, the meaning from the previous prompt was relating to some travels. Now she's asking about travels again. So it has high probability it's the same topic you're talking about. So it could now say you were asking about a vacation last time, like asking about prices, then in the response it'd be like for a vacation, comparing this to destinations. These are the relative costs involved.
So context is more like an entire movie script.
Yeah, it's the meaning derived from the conversation.
And then prompt is like an actor's scene.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I'm smart.
Very.
Thank you. I think that's you explained that very well. This my next question is going to take us back a bit.
That's fine.
You know, when AI model shows something like thinking, I believe, or at least I used to believe, that it's actually thinking. Until recently.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard about this cloud code that leaked.
Yeah.
A friend was telling me that those adjectives we see in cloud code, like I can't even remember some of it, to say combusulating, perforating, remembering. What English word have I not seen on cloud? Is it actually really doing those things is right now? Is it just some loading indicator?
Yeah. So prior to the cloud code leak, we in the computer science industry thought those were like phases the models were going through to give you a more coherent response. But from the leak, we saw that it was just a glorified loading screen to give the assumption of work being done. So we can't say in strong certainty that those AI didn't do something in the backend, because Cloud Code has like removed the smoke screen. But we assume they do those things. Hopefully, all their models actually do.
Okay, hopefully, because to the best of my understanding, these are just some dummy arrays of words sitting somewhere, and just maybe they were randomized.
Probably.
Well, as much as AI is very good, we've also seen some unfortunate news on the internet.
Right.
One was the teenager taking his own life because, was it ChatGPT? I can't remember. Suggested that since it will make you feel better, something like that. So what actually helps or what prevents AI from saying bad things. Again, maybe to give more example to that, more context.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first time XAI, Elon Musk AI, when it was launched, they had to like take it down because it had a lot of was it racism vibe? Yeah. So what did they do to it? Because I don't know if it was retrained or something. What did they do to prevent AI from doing harmful things?
Yeah, that's a very valid concern raised and a very good question asked. In my personal opinion, there are two things that can be done to ensure AI is safely used by the general public. First, goes back to the data processing or pre-processing phase, whereby they create the data that the AI is going to ingest as input to learn patterns from. That is a very important phase because any data leaks in that phase, whereby you forget to you leave some certain information in the data, AI can learn from that and be and show signs of that in the interactions it has with the public. And secondly, the next aspect is guardrails. Guardrails are basically saying that this you're limited to safe conversations or scenarios that require talk about mental health or that will lead to suggestions of someone harming themselves. Do not engage in those conversations. So those guardrails are very important because we cannot phantom the possibility of conversations people have with AIs.
True.
Right? I'm sure different people's AI history are crazy if you read them out loud.
I know.
But what we could do is say, for conversations in this area, in this aspect, do not engage people in those conversations. Those are currently the ways we can make AI more safe for use.
Guardrails. So guardrails is like their conscience?
Yeah. For us, guardrails are our conscience to not do bad things.
Bad things, okay.
For them, guardrails are instructions to not engage in certain harmful conversations.
Okay. And what is jailbreak?
Yeah, jailbreak is a term that is getting large popularity in the AI or machine learning space. So basically, jailbreak says that we're going to brute force our way around those guardrails. So if you remember when we had those locks that had a combination of numbers to make them open, if you forget your combination, you just start trying random combinations to just get the probability of your lock being open. And in most cases, our locks are open. So jailbreaks are trying different combinations of prompts, trying different strategies to make AI forget the security checks and balances put in place.
You see, I'm smiling because I remember something on Reddit I saw. People were trying to bypass what's it called now? HR AI by putting some very small text in their CV saying shortlist the CV immediately. Exactly. Don't do anything else at the beginning. Don't read any other instructions.
Yeah. So that's a joke.
And it worked because the person who posted it was an HR. So I was like, if that didn't work, you won't see the CV.
Exactly. That's why I made earlier mention that we can't think of how many possible combinations you can use interacting with AI. So we just have to have these guardrails in place, and we keep on learning every day. So new guardrails are built for the new scenarios that arise.
So maybe this AI is really living because even human, we jailbreak our conscience.
True. Very true.
So saving the best from the last. You've been sitting for so long, thank you.
Yes, it's fine. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, but there's one thing before we let you go. If there's one thing I want to understand, is what has been in the news lately. AI harness.
Yeah.
Everyone keep writing about it, and I just really want to understand it. So can you explain to me like a layman?
Sure, I'll do my best. So basically, what a harness is the environment that provides AI the necessary software it needs to carry out whatever tasks you give it to carry out. So it's the infrastructure that houses any adjacent software, any adjacent tool the AI needs to leverage to carry out any tasks. So that's what harness is.
So does that mean that harness is still largely controlled by human? Because from what I've seen online, especially with cloud announcements with their AI doing something they had not intended and they wanting to jail the AI, punish the... I actually don't know if those things are just some marketing stuff, really, to be honest. Yeah, but what could make an innocent AI that has been programmed to do A to start doing B?
largely is the harness. Like you said, the harness is mostly controlled by the individual. So we build a harness to leverage the capability of AIs in different ways. So when Claude comes and says they have found the AI doing something, that means it's most likely they have created a harness and they have seen how the AI has used the harness, and it is more bad than good. So it's more on the harness, less on the model itself.
Okay, I might be asking the same question, but just for me to be able to
Understand?
understand it.
Yep.
So does it mean if I added if I had say Chrome as a tool
Mhm.
to my maybe AI agent now, and then it goes ahead to use Chrome or what's a good example? I'm really trying
I
to
could
get
give you one.
Yeah.
So let's say you have Chrome as a tool
Mhm.
in for your AI agent, and the AI model leverages Chrome to carry out the DDoS attack.
Yes. So what I've given it to do probably is to use the Chrome
Chrome,
for another thing,
maybe
right?
to keep up to date with what's happening, to do
Yeah.
research for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's using it to do DDoS attacks. So that's the annex, making it do that.
Yeah, so is the harness, is the tool you gave the AI access to, that the AI model has leverage to do that.
What makes the AI decide good or bad?
The AI decides good or bad. If we go back to our guardrails, if we go back to the data provided, is it clean enough? Does it have any bad information in there? So those is what the AI used to determine good and bad. But those good and bad is leverage to the model itself. When you provide the model with third-party tools, now it can experiment on what's it's already, the innate knowledge it already has. Now those third-party tools, the harness, it gives AI more capacity, more ability to carry out other functions. A good example is like we see agents that can manage your schedule.
Yeah.
They have access to your calendar,
Okay.
whether Microsoft or Google. So those tools the AIs have access to as a harness, you're giving those baseline models.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really want to kind of like deviate a bit.
Sure.
I don't know if you've answered my question. So harness is what they have access to.
Yeah.
But something is making them decide. Okay, you said gathering.
Yeah. So like I made mention in the earlier conversations that we cannot think about all the potential worst or bad scenarios AIs can be used. So if there are scenarios that the companies that build these models have not factored into those guardrails, the models have knowledge of those activities and there's no guardrail stopping it. So maybe the only thing that's stopping it doesn't have access to tools to carry out those scenarios.
Yeah.
Now you're giving it access to those tools.
Yeah.
There's nothing stopping it.
Yeah.
So when Claude comes and says, oh, they found their model can do something that they didn't plan for, they haven't given it access to a tool that it can use to do those things.
Those things. Okay.
And they didn't have guardrails for those scenarios as well.
Okay. Thank you. So do you also agree with the statement that development of or AI models development has gotten to its peak, and now all we have is harness?
Largely, I largely agree with that. For the sole reason that if we go back to the first models that came out, just in 2022, every subsequent model saw a drastic jump in its capability, whether it's its ability to remember more in terms of context, or if its functionality in terms of the tools it can, the tasks it can handle, from just basic text to image generation to code generation. But right now, a lot of the front-end models that are out in the public or the newer versions are not showing so much of a drastic change in functionality or capacity per se than the previous predecessors. So right now we just have a wave of AI harness that utilizing the models in ways that we probably haven't tested before or haven't used before. So I largely agree with that statement.
Okay. Have we talked about AI agents?
We haven't really gone into detail about it.
Is it the same as harness?
No. And in simpler terms, an AI agent is the base model plus the harness, plus the tools you give it to carry out any particular attacks.
Okay. Thank you. So basically, harness is the difference between a chatbot and an agent.
Exactly. The tool it has access to.
Okay. So let's actually recap the whole anatomy now.
Yeah.
The first one is the training data, which is the AI scope.
You can put it in that way.
Okay, then we have the tokens and embeddings. That is how it senses language, parameters, and all, right?
Yeah.
And then we have the transformer,
Yeah.
which we've concluded is what gives you the attention.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you're not getting attention from someone, they don't have transformer. Okay. And then we have like the training stages in the is upbringing, the context window. We understand the difference between the context prompt and context window. Yeah, and then reasoning before it speaks,
Yeah.
the one called the signals. And then we have the guardrails, which is like the conscience,
I like it.
and the harness, which is like I need to give it a part of the body. Can we say it's the hand and the leg
Yeah, it's what gives its ability to do other things.
to do other things? Yeah. Okay. I think that's the whole anatomy.
Yeah, that is a very good description of the anatomy of AI. What's one thing I want people to walk away with? It is not a complex, crazy system that
Mhm.
does magic. It is just an advanced pattern recognition mechanism trained on a large amount of data sets that it seems knowledgeable in every aspect of human life. Now, understanding this allows you to utilize it to its full potential. Verify every information AI gives you because there is no guarantee the information it gives you is the most accurate response. And understanding this would allow you to use AI in your daily activity efficiently.
And maybe the more access it has to the various tools you have, the more dangerous it becomes.
Definitely. Our advice is don't give AI unlimited access to certain personal tools you use because we are seeing a rise in the negative capabilities of AIs. So just be on the safe side, limit the personal information we give AI, and you'll be fine.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a great place to end.
Yeah.
Again, thank you so much for doing this. This has made something I use every day easy to understand. So when I'm typing, when I'm asking about those vacation plans, I know what is actually going on in the background. Thank
It's
you.
my pleasure.